Hi, my name is Gabriel Lee. I'm the founder of Gaber Inc. I immigrated to Canada when I was 7 years old from Korea Bay, Hong Kong, not being able to speak a lick of English, but I always had the financial support of my family. But because I moved here just with my mom, I never had the emotional support. So what was really important to me was when I was able to find meaning and find validation as a young person was through the sport of basketball, because it was a non-verbal type of communication that allowed me to express myself and allowed me to have a place in this new country without having to ever say a single word. I was never able to, I remember vividly one time in grade 5, we were learning how to rhyme, and the teacher asked, "Can you rhyme something with cake?" And I wasn't able to do so for a very long time, and I think the entire class had to stay a couple minutes until recess because the teacher thought I was doing it intentionally, but I really wasn't. I just couldn't understand and have a grasp on the nuance of the English language until then. So through basketball, one of the most powerful and the most influential figure of my life has been Kobe Bryant, and how he has always taught me the values of outworking our competition and the value of being absolutely relentless about our goals and making everything else secondary. Even though I didn't have that emotional support of my dad, he put me in a great position to succeed coming here at Vancouver College, sending me to Ryerson University after to pursue journalism. He never had doubts, my biological dad never had doubts about what I could accomplish professionally. But because he didn't give me he wasn't able to provide me with some of the life skills and the survival skills of growing up as a young man, a lot of that I took from 7:30 at Staples Center and observing that through Kobe Bryant. And how one of the things I always told myself when I was younger was, Kobe won championship number 5 with a broken finger and a shooting hand. If he can do that, then I can do anything I want when it comes to a test, or I can study just a little bit longer so I can get an A on this assignment, which will hopefully get me into university. So all throughout my life, it was just a lot of moments like that. If he can drop 81 points in a game when no one else was able to do that, that's what it's about. He taught us to dream limitless, because work ethic and working, well, it's an idea that doesn't serve me quite as much anymore, but back in the past where everyone was working towards the same goal, like in basketball, everyone's working towards a championship. In school, everyone's working towards finishing the assignment, getting the best grade. If we're able to outwork our competition and to block everything else out and be so laser-like focused on our goal, then what's really going to stop us? But as we transition into post-second high school life or post-basketball, I think that's where he's inspired me even more, and that's where my job now is to do with my company is to. One of the things I was lucky enough to attend his jersey retirement ceremony on December 18, 2017. Or 2018, sorry. And when he spoke to the crowd, he said something very important at halftime, right before his jerseys went up. He said, this night's also about the next generation and how we have to make these next 20 years better than these last 20. And even though whatever he accomplished in basketball, becoming arguably the second greatest player of all time behind Michael, LeBron might have passed that legacy now. The scoring titles, the championships, the all-star experiences, all those things, his mind was focused on the future now, and how he can help the Laker organization forward through inspiring through that. And I think similar to me, the first stage of my professional career was devoted toward, for the last 7 years, I've organized recreational basketball through the city of Richmond. And I've been so privileged to have the opportunity to touch and influence hundreds of lives of boys and girls all throughout the city. And what's really important now is I think I'm taking Kobe's message on that night and showing not just the boys and girls I've had the opportunity to influence, but every single person out there, hopefully through what I'm doing now, that your first passion doesn't have to define you forever. And even though basketball gave me meaning and it was my most reliable friend when I was 7 years old through like 14, 15, until I had the confidence and the grasp and the social literacy to be the person I needed to be, and I'm closer to the person I am now, I'm also okay with letting go of it. Like I think, Hank, you asked me earlier, do I still play basketball? And truth is, sometimes I go weeks without touching a basketball, and I'm absolutely at peace with it because I'm so focused on everything else I'm doing. Like I'm preparing for the next speech that I want to give. Like part of the ethos of Gaber Inc. is to be the Tony Robbins for high school and university students, to help them shape their purpose, mission, and vision so that they can find their basketball and what makes them come alive earlier in life. So the fact that I think once you become very good at something or above average, I think everyone's scale of success is different when it comes to each activity. But no matter what you do, I think for me it was learning how to be the best possible basketball player so I could also pass along all those skills to the next generation through organizing Richmond Youth Basketball League and West Richmond SummerSlam Basketball League. What I learned there, like the discipline, the organization, the resilience, the willpower, the routine, the leadership skills. I think no matter what we are obsessive over in the first chapter, how can we transfer that to something else? Because it's so important for us as human beings to be multifaceted in our identities. Right? We can all be good at one thing if we work hard enough. But can we show others that we can be multiple things now? Because in this day and age, I think if we get robbed of that initial thing, may that be in athletics, may it be through a devastating injury, may it through circumstance, may it just be through age, at some point we're going to have to pivot to that next thing. And my job here through Gaber Inc. and wanting to be the Tony Robbins for kids is I want to lead by example. Basketball has defined me for, I think if you ask 75% of people in my life, when they say, oh, hey, it's Gabe, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's the guy who organized basketball. He taught me how to play basketball. Like, those are great things. But I'm actually using that as a motivator for me now, Hank. I'm using that as a motivator because every time I hear that, I'm like, okay, I haven't fully transitioned yet. This means that there's more work for me to do. I want to get to a point where in 3 to 5 years, when a kid out there thinks of Gabe Lee, they're like, oh, that's my favorite YouTube personality. That's the person I went to see for a speech that had the idea that changed my life and how I saw things. That's the point I want to get to. Similar to how, again, I don't want to reference back to Kobe too much, but at ComplexCon in April, after he retired, he had an interview with Kendrick Lamar, and they had a panel at ComplexCon, and he said that if basketball is the best thing I've done in my life, then I've failed, because he's so focused on being that next identity. What comes next? How do I make it better? Is it winning an Oscar? Is it developing Vanity Studios? Is it releasing Mamba Mentality, the book? All these things that continue to help us move forward. And another figure that really inspires me is, we talked about this before as well, but Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. How it took him years and years and years of being in the public eye as WWF champion, WWE champion. But through being so relentless in his work ethic and putting that work in daily, now when people think about The Rock, I think the majority of people think about G.I. Joe. People think about Fast and Furious. But the hardcore wrestling fans still see The Rock, but a lot more people now see Dwayne. And I think that's ultimately where I want to get to in terms of my development as a man and my development as a professional public speaker. And the one thing I'll also want to touch on is, since Kobe meant the world to me, and he was the person that drove everything in my psychological makeup up until those jerseys went up, the 8 and 24 went up. I hope what I can accomplish through being a role model for future generations as a public figure for Gaber Inc. is that ultimately I want to teach kids, young people, everyone out there, that you're an autonomous person and you can take the things. It's cool to have role models, it's cool to have heroes, it's cool to admire your parents, but ultimately can you get to a place where you take those things that they taught you and you embody them and you live them. So you don't have to miss anything, you don't have to miss anyone. Your role models become a part of you and you carry their legacy forward as opposed to living in the past and being stuck in the cage of nostalgia.